they get to the service department.
That's right. And so, Brad, we were talking just kind of during the break, and we were talking about when customers come into the service drive, some of the things that really alarm them, some of the concerns they may have that we didn't really discuss. Why don't you talk about that before we get to the second thing they should expect with the inspection form? Why don't you talk about some of the lights that come on and some of the things that you've experienced that really can concern a guest, and you kind of can dispel, any nervousness or validate any feelings they may have.
The two lights right now that seem to be causing people the most grief and most concern, one is the check engine light.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
The check engine light was put in cars in 1981, pretty much industry-wide. And most people have the misconception that when the check engine light comes on that there's something the matter with their engine. Well, really there's nothing any further from the truth than being something the matter with your engine. Mm. The check engine light was put on a car to diagnose the emission system to try and control the emissions being put out in the atmosphere.
Get out of here. Let's learn something today, Chip.
I did too.
And then the next light that has...
Well, can you stop? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to... So when that check engine light comes on, the guest comes in, they're obviously concerned. That could be a late model car or it could be an older car, which really would probably spook them out a little bit. So in your mind, right away when you see a check engine light, it's one of three things, one of five things? Like what, or is it too broad to...
Actually, it's too broad to go into because as the check engine lights progressed and computers have progressed on cars, the check engine light and that computer system now control the transmission, the AC system, even controls the windows and door locks. And when your check engine light comes on, I think right now on Toyotas, there's like 848 codes that light would be telling you about.
Wow. So the customer can't avoid coming in. See, they probably would listen and go, man, is there any way I can avoid coming in? No, unfortunately, there's 840 some reasons why you need to come check it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second light that comes on that you say concerns guests that you have seen.
The second one's relatively new, and that's the low tire light.
Yeah, that's a little squiggly line with the... Okay, so I'll get into that because that's important because I people come to the showroom and ask me about that after they bought a car. A newer car, that light can come on. And try to explain that to a guest when they buy a brand new vehicle. But go ahead and explain.
The low tire light will come on when it sees 4 pounds difference in a tire from any of the other 3 or 4 tires.
Okay.
And the biggest culprit is a change in weather.
Really?
When a tire is cold, it has less pressure than when it's hot. And normally people will say, it was on this morning when I left for work, by the time I got to work it was off.
Good point.
Well, all that meant the heat from driving built the air pressure up, got it over a threshold to turn the light back on.
Interesting. So how annoying is that for a customer though, right? To come in, see something, and say, this thing keeps coming on every morning, but then now it's off. You may know what it is, and so what do you tell the guest? I mean, it's a precautionary light. Could be, a tire sensor, something could be bad in there, but more than likely, it's just a frustrating code that pops.
More than likely, it's just the little bit of difference in cold and hot air temperature in the tires. One thing that we're doing, and a lot of people are getting on board with, is changing the air out of the tires for nitrogen.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. To explain to the this is a good thing, Chip. Do you recall us going over this?
Yes.
Brad, why don't you go over the value, and then I guess we'll get to the multi-point inspection after the break because we're coming on another break. But tell them if they put nitrogen in the tire versus air, go ahead and tell them what the differences and the benefits are.
Well, nitrogen doesn't expand and contract based on temperature. And nitrogen's very dry where air is very wet.
Right.
So, you don't get as much fluctuation. It holds its steady pressure.
But that also helps with the life of the tire, right? The balance of the tire, right? I mean, you got NASCAR, NASA. I mean, there's a lot of airplanes all have nitrogen in the tires.
That's correct. Yeah, it's a new up and coming thing. It's kind of new, but it's going to be a thing of the future.
Now, we've been doing it, for 2 years now?
2 years now.
Now, we don't have the data. I wouldn't want to misquote or mislead anybody, but we are one of the few in Middle Georgia that has a nitrogen machine, right? I mean, you can't just get that. You can't just go to any shop and say, hey, I heard about nitrogen, I want it. Not everybody has it, right?
Right.
Right. So there's some expense in that. And if a customer wants to put nitrogen in the tires, it's very inexpensive. What does it run?
Actually, it's $39.95, but that comes with a year of Auto Club, which gets you free towing, free tire replacement, free tire repair.
Right.
They'll bring you gas. They'll come unlock your car. If you
so it's kind of the AAA that comes with it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one last question that customers may have. What if a tire gets low? What if they put regular air in that nitrogen? How do they work that out? Because I'm sure that may come up.
It doesn't hurt at all to mix it.
Okay.
You can be on the road where nobody has nitrogen, just put air in it, go back to whoever installed the nitrogen for you, they'll gladly pull that tire down and inflate it back up at no charge.
No charge. Okay.
Very good.
All right. Well, Chip, we'll go to a break. Stay tuned because we're going to come back. We're going to go over the inspection form. We're going to cover some information that's very, very important. So stay with us because when you go to the service shop, doesn't matter what shop you go to, you're going to want to know about this form and what it means to you and how it can impact your future service.
All right. Learning a lot today. Brad Duren, the service manager at Louie Herron Toyota in Milledgeville, and of course Louie with us from Louie Herron Toyota. It is Super Thursday, the automotive show on the air, 16 after 4. We've got 79 degrees.